conversation with Shobana Kamineni from Apollo Hospitals. Thank you very much for talking to us on Money Control. You were in a meeting that had industry delegates, union ministers, senior officials from the Commerce Ministry. What's the mood this time at Davos? As you said, you can't walk 10 steps on the promenade without seeing some India-related brand. So tell us about what's it like for the India contingent at Davos this time.
One is last May when we had the first summer Davos. Only the Indian contingent said that they prefer it in summer because we can't take this freezing. But having said that, I think that this whole promenade really has not just India ink, but it has, and it always had, big Indian companies represented here, Wipro, TCL, HCL, all of them on the promenade. But over the last few years, we've had an India presence, right. And I think none more so than this. 4 union ministers, plus along the promenade, every 10 steps, there's an India story, the largest Indian contingent of business people coming here. And why? I mean, what is the relevance of all of us being here? I think you're looking at a world which has more tension than it's ever had, whether it's health, whether it's political, and for all that, and you look at a place that has some amount of stability, and I'm not saying it's a perfect world, but here we have in India the ability to actually think about growth.
Yeah.
And everywhere you're seeing it, that here's Indian business that is coming here, that is growing, that is continuing to do it the right way, huge amount of sustainability, huge amount of saying that let us pick up the healthcare challenges for the world. So all these are very, very, not just positive, but I think that they're very dynamic and deep messages. So.
Right. India has also managed the pandemic fairly well compared to other countries with the pace of vaccination and so on. But how should we really prepare for the next stage of the pandemic? Because it's not like the pandemic has gone away. It is still there in some form in some parts of the world. How can we really prepare for it? Is our healthcare system, now up to speed with all that we've experienced in the last 2 years?
So one thing is that we did vaccines well.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Adar earlier, and he said the variant which will work for Omicron is there, and it'll get approved. So I think that the next wave of booster doses for the vulnerable has to be pushed. So we shouldn't think that the danger is gone.
Yeah.
But we must also understand that we have not only a resilient healthcare system, but the people are quite resilient now. We've had that wave, that China is experiencing now. For us, we've been there. I mean, we've been through it. So the healthcare, I think the hospitals are stronger. We have the supply chains that will take care of it. So I do think that, this pandemic or another pandemic, India has not moved back and closed this thing. We've just become stronger from that. And I think these are all learnings which are important. And more than anything, I applaud the fact that, as healthcare workers, we'll never, shirk away from the duty that needs to be done.
Can you take us through Apollo Hospitals' plans for 2023 in terms of adding capacity, investments, new areas that you will look at closely?
So you do know that we have 2 to 3 brownfield hospitals that are going to take place. Another big thing is that our older facilities are now going through not just huge renovation, upgradation, expansion in the cities that we're in. So we'll continue to double down in cities where we are and places where our patients and all expect whatever Apollo can do for them and bring the highest level of health care. But I think the most exciting, place that Apollo has moved to is digital health. This transformation happened during COVID, but it's really, we're the fastest growing digital health company in Asia.
Right.
And this year we'll close, with a
Do you
300%
think the
growth.
demand for that is there even post-pandemic? Because we see a lot of pandemic-led industries, going back to offline mode. Education, for example, EdTech has mostly gone offline again. But digital health, do you believe it's here to stay?
From day one, we believed that you couldn't that the digital was a means to an end. You needed to be omni-channel to really serve the customer best. So we have 5,000 pharmacies. We have diagnostic clinics everywhere. We have a presence, 7,000 doctors of our own. So you're sure you'll get an Apollo doctor in 15 minutes. But behind that, we have some awesome technology that we've applied for patents. And I think that not will this be just for India, but possibly for the world. So there's a strong business model behind it, because you can't build any business without it being sustainable, without it being for the future. I mean, if someone is going to trust us with your health record, and we're going to close down 5 years or 10 years from now, how will that work for them? It's a breach of trust, and healthcare is about trust. And I think that Apollo really values the trust it has from Indians more than anything else that we do.
Right. But last couple of questions. We are 2 weeks away from the union budget. What's the one big reform or the one big reform wish list or the dream that you would like to see?
The 10-year-old one. Give it infrastructure status. I mean, you've got PLI and all this. We should be doing this for healthcare continuously. We should also GST reforms for healthcare. So I think that while we expect healthcare to be at the front line of everything, when there's trouble, let's do it now when we have an opportunity, even in the budget. So give us infrastructure status.
Right. Finally, Shobna, I have to ask you, as someone who really likes Natu Natu from RRR, hearty congratulations.
Thank you. Don't ask
on
me
the
to do
global-
this again. In this,
Can
I'll
you?
probably
Can
step.
you?
No, I'll
You
slip.
would have picked up some tips from your son-in-law, Ram Charan.
No. This is all you can.
Please do that.
My son-in-law. Yes.
But
thank
what's
you.
what's the been the mood like at home?
It's been just amazing, the outpouring. And the thing is, we thought the movie was fantastic, but the fact that it's receiving this international acclaim, all of a sudden, you're giving so many Indians hope. And like Upasana, my daughter, says, there's no barrier for what any Indian can do. I mean, if you can win this, and a Telugu song can do it, I mean, just any Indian can do anything.
Can you sing the song for us?
No. Totally not.
So let's hope they win the Oscar as well for
Thank you.
RRR.
Thank you. Really
Thank you
appreciate
very
that.
much for talking
Yeah,
to
thank
us.
you.